picked up on that it was birth trauma, and I thought she's either had an abortion that she hasn't dealt with, or she's had a caesarean because something has cut off that energy.
Yeah, wow.
And when I spoke to her up, so I did, I won't go into the details of what sort of happened energetically, but basically I opened that up and got this flow coming. And when I spoke to her afterwards, she broke into tears because she had had a caesarean birth. And she actually said then in that reflection that she said, actually, you're right. Like, ever since that birth, I've never actually felt like I've been in the flow again, and things have just always been more of a struggle, and I get more frustrated. And so that really confirmed for me that, you know, when women go into labour, yes, there's all these physical things happening, but on that energetic level, I mean, we are more spiritual beings than what we are physical. And so as our uterus, as everything's opening up to have this baby, it's, you know, it just makes common sense even that spiritually we're opening up as well. And as Mo was explaining before, it's like you feel like you're in this beautiful current. It's hard to put into words because it's such a feeling thing. And the baby comes through in that, and when a baby comes through in love and not fear, the baby's showered in that, and there's this beautiful imprint that happens. So with a caesarean birth, we don't get to finish that process. And so when the doctor comes along and they cut you open, they're also spiritually cutting off that flow. And so I do feel it's definitely something we can heal because I've unblocked it for someone else. So it's not, you know, it's not like it's the end of the world. But it's definitely something to be aware of. If we could look at more of the spiritual side of birth for women, and if more women would become more open to it, I think we could move through a lot more healing and not carry it so much with us, because not everyone gets the opportunity to have that healing birth as well. So we've heard some really beautiful VBAC stories, but I know that the lady that trained me in my doula training, she ended up having a caesarean with her first birth, and she never got to have that healing birth experience. She had a lot of trouble sort of falling pregnant. She tried and she tried. She said she went through years of sitting in circles, just going, oh, I can't fall pregnant. And, you know, so there's got to be other ways of being able to work through that as well, where we can claim back our power and claim back our spirituality.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Did you have anything to add, Mo?
No, just I think we really do a disservice to ourselves by not including spirituality into our birthing, because it's all one. It's all one, and whatever that is for you. For me, it's my, you know, it's Papatuānuku, my earth mother. That was strong for me. It's Jesus Christ for me. That's what it, you know, I connect with that, and it draws that energy, that blessing, that strength. Yeah, I think
You're so right, Mo. Like, there's so many different words, but it all leads to the same thing. Like, when you start delving into different cultures and different religions, it's all pointing to exactly the same thing.
So I think we need to be open to that, to be able to, and together, you know, we're so individual. We go and birth our babies by ourselves, and we heal by ourselves, and we're so individual, and we don't collectively come together and give strength to one another and say, and let each other know, birthing is normal. It's okay. You're going to be okay, and I'm here for you. So, you know, we don't do that a lot.
And, you know, I do wonder if in our hospitals, after a woman had a caesarean, imagine living in this natural culture where a group of women came in and circled her, and they all just held hands, and we started like chanting or something, and we started raising this vibration, and we really got that energy up and got that energy to flow through until because you can get a sense of when that energy's done. And I almost feel like that would finish that birth process for her, because there are going to be, a small percentage of women that are going to need caesareans, and that's okay too. So it's, what can we do for them? And as you were saying, I think if we bring that spirituality into that, they're still going to have that same beautiful birth current and feeling that we have when we walk out of having these natural births where the process is finished.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no reason why even a caesarean can be beautiful.
Exactly.
There is no reason why it can't be a beautiful experience, even being in a hospital.
Yes.
Why do we not open that up to, we need our female role models and our strength and our sisters and our, that's the feminine tribe. We need that women birthing. It's, so...
We need to be held spiritually with other people's energy in times like that. Yeah. But we're not. We're left on our own, and we're left on our own without our baby and our partner as well, often during part of that process. So, I mean, yeah.
I know, it's very unnatural. So, I think once again it goes back to trusting, and even if it's your first baby, still trusting your body, trusting your baby. Your baby knows how to be born.
Exactly. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's programmed in us, just like everything in nature. Like a sunflower seed isn't going to grow into a rose. Like everything has this beautiful natural law. Absolutely. There's this universal law. Like we've got our laws that are man-made created, which is all illusion, but then we do have our natural laws that stay true to what they are, and I truly believe that childbirth is part of that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, I believe we're created perfectly, and if we just get out of our own way, things will happen as they should.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess trying to bridge surgeons into the consciousness that we're in of what childbirth is really about, and having the emotional and spiritual awareness as well, and not just the physical, then when that woman's in that room, it's really going to change the process of what's happening today. How we do that, I don't know. But hopefully we're heading towards that direction just by talking more and sharing more and educating more. And I think social media is really powerful for that now, because we can reach people from all around the world now and share this information.
Yeah, I think that's important, that it's not shut down, that these debates happen. Some people are going to agree with it and some people aren't. But the reality is, I mean, we kind of talk about the feminist movement being over, but it's not. It's so not. And especially not when it comes to industrial power, that like the medical field. I mean, we've got the fact is, it's really is a male-dominated industry still. Yeah. And I remember my grandmother used to talk about the power that men had, doctors, they were always male, and the power that they had, that the nurses had to kowtow to the doctors. And not much of that has changed.
It's still the same. There's still hierarchy with the obstetricians versus the midwives. We're also seeing that in government funding. He's just put all these funding into obstetricians and not the midwives. It's a real dying breed of home birth midwives now. I think a lot of it comes down to the women who are having the babies too. They've got to realise the power that they have, and the choices that they have is shaping the future. And there's no point in me going around and, barking at everyone about it. But if I was pregnant and I was saying, no, I want this, I expect this. And if everyone was doing that because we got them to a point of feeling that they deserve this and that this is their entitlement because they're female and that's what entitles them to it, we don't need any other reason, then things would have to change. But unfortunately, most people are just surrendering to what they're given, and they don't have the support, or they can't afford a doula, or like there's all these sorts of things that come into it. Or then they've got the family that are giving them a hard time, and so it does take a lot, I think, to be strong and to say no, like this is my choice. But if you could trust in that and realize the benefit and the ripples that cause, and understand that there is so many women standing with you, even if they're not physically there. So yeah, tap into that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's sad that at this present time there's only two choices. You can either go the medical model, or you can be a radical and go the illegal model. And it's illegal. I didn't even realise it was illegal, but it's illegal to home birth on your own.
Free birth.
Yeah, to free birth. Yeah,
I don't think it is. I read that it's actually not. They can try and make it illegal, but it's not actually written in the laws.
Okay.
Is it maybe illegal for a doula
They have the power to report it. They have the power. So someone has the power to report you, and they can like come around and force you to go to a hospital or threaten to charge you and say that, well, you're risking the child's life or what. So they can do that, but it's not actually illegal, because there are women that book into hospitals and don't make it there. There's always ways of working around it. If they can work around laws that aren't even there, then we can work around laws that aren't even there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, so I guess my message today, if I have one, is really to trust in your body. Trust in your feminine power. Trust in your, whatever it is that gets you there. So you can do it.
Yeah. And I think some ways of doing that is, one, like we need meditation or mindfulness or prayer, whatever you want to call it. You need to spend some time on your own to feel who you are. Because when you don't spend that time on your own, then you're just constantly thinking, and everyone else is kind of in on that. And I feel like that, that can really disempower a person. Reading lots of positive stories, birth affirmations, being in nature, barefoot in nature. Looking at some beautiful pictures. And what are some things that you did that helped empower you?
Yeah, so, those things. I think the main thing for me too was having support. So that was really huge. The lesson I learnt from the first to the second was having doula support or female support. I did have my husband in the first pregnancy, the first birth, and so it didn't really work out very well. He was great. He was very supportive, but when he ran out of puff was kind of when I needed him the most.
Men are also the protectors. So they're so important in birth as well, to help a woman feel safe. And as you said, you create the baby together, you birth the baby together, but there's something about having the female support that goes a long way as well. And I think that's something people need to realise, that a doula doesn't push the male out. It doesn't take over the male role, because that's not possible, because the male and female have such different roles energetically when it comes to holding space and understanding what the woman's going through. So it really, I'm trying to think of the right word for it, but it gives more integrity to the birth space and the circle of space to have the partner and plus the female support.
Yeah, and I think there's something about knowing that there's a woman with you that has given birth. You can call it a doula, you can call it your mother, whatever it is. When you kind of get down to the nitty-gritty, it's knowing that there's a woman there supporting you that's given birth, telling you, hey, you're doing well. Hey, you're doing okay. Hey, that was a great surge that you just had then. Fantastic. And hearing that from another woman who's been there, it's like, oh, fantastic. I'm doing it. Yeah. Yeah, it's gold. It's just you don't realise till you're in it how powerful that is.
Very true. And I don't think we realise how much other people affect us as well. So it really is important to keep that bubble around you and not allow fearful stories to get in. I remember when I was planning my home birth with Marley, and this woman came in and she was like, oh my gosh, did you know that my daughter's friend had her baby in the birthing centre. And I'm thinking, birthing centre? How many years ago was this? Because all the birthing centres are gone. And she's going, oh, you know, and her baby died. And if she had to be in the hospital, she would